Okay, the work is called Vita, Anonyma, which is, for me, about people fading into the background, and so that's people who are underrepresented within any kind of society, just being not seen throughout the societal filaments, and so they become just shadows within the society. Vita Anonyma means anonymous life. In some ways that came out, the title came out of a book called The Secret Life of Buildings. I mean, the title, it was just the pure essence of that idea kind of caught me, of anonymous lives, and there are so many anonymous lives within the current workings of our societies wherever we live. There are so many people who fall through cracks, who don't get represented, who are just sort of living their lives to get by. I haven't been had a long history of durational pieces. I've been working more within performance art as a band rather than as a solo performer, and so durational hasn't been part of my practice, but it actually came quite naturally because I understand that idea of pace, and so within the space, it's because there are two sides to it, it's kind of easy to move within these two different audiences, and the movement, since the idea was about the background to it was about people being sort of within the shadows of a society, then that's my actual person would be that shadow moving between the physicality of the space. And so it was all about being slow, being considered, and just people just looking into the space and thinking there's nothing there, and then being pop surprised by my presence there. And that's actually what I wanted in some ways, of people looking beyond the fabric and the space to see what was actually there. And so in some ways that guided the slowness, and I didn't want there to be lots of action, but the point of the water bombs in some ways was to alert people to the fact that there is someone in there, and the comfort that you're feeling at the moment isn't eternal, and that there are other things going on. And so the surprise of a water bomb, the surprise of like, and the scream that someone does is sort of, to me, alerts me that, you weren't really paying attention. It's more what you were, it's what you were doing rather than what was happening in this space. So yes, it was about that fast action was to impress upon the audience who was there that there are other things going on. In Australia, there is a super whiteness that happens. There's a multi-culti kind of culture that's happening in society, but and I don't want to make big statements because I don't live here. I come and see the way things kind of move every few years. It really is tricky, and part of this was sort of like, the underrepresented, which is like people who are from non-stereotypical what is supposed to be Australian, and what is Australian. I mean, everyone is kind of a mutt coming from us to Australia. We're from all different places and spaces, and there was a real rush of acceptance and kind of tolerance within Australia, and it feels that there is once again like this tension which is coming through of seeing stickers of, and I don't even want to say what those stickers say because it just feeds some of this kind of ugliness that happens, but it's kind of trying to push through the whole thing of like, this isn't what Australia is about actually. It's an invaded land that has destroyed a culture that was growing here quite nicely, and we can try and develop what we have.